Welcome back to Mad Talks Football, and a massive win for Chelsea against Liverpool. They win the game at 3-1 at Stamford Bridge, and boy did they deserve that win. I mean, if there was a day of football where everything could go right for Chelsea, it was today. I mean, they were simply sensational, and I hate to say it as an Arsenal fan, but I mean, they were a level above Liverpool. I don't know whether Liverpool were still hungover from their celebrations from last week, being the champions. I mean, they were still celebrating in the stands, even at the away end, but the players were not at it for the game. Let's be very honest. I mean, Chelsea were miles apart. They were miles better in that game. The game starts, and Chelsea from the get-go, they took the game to Liverpool, and as I said, the Liverpool players were like quite relaxed. They were quite casual. We have not seen Liverpool play this sport in the entirety of this season. I'll be very honest. As I said, I just think that they really did not care. It felt like that they were still a partying in their head, and like they were not their heads were not in the game. And Chelsea, they don't mind. They took advantage of that. They scored an early goal. Enzo Fernandez, it becomes 1-0, quite a well goal. It becomes 1-0, and Chelsea are on the front foot. And I would say Liverpool are lucky that this game could have ended up really badly. Chelsea could have really embarrassed Liverpool. It is a 3-1. It could easily have been a 5-0 or 6-0, a 5-1, 6-1 type of a game. They have to give huge thanks to Alisson because of making so many saves. Otherwise, as I said, it was a shambolic performance defensive wise. The midfield was today non-existent. You watched that game and and you wouldn't believe that this was the same Liverpool's team that has won the title just last week. That's how poor Liverpool played. And I know, and I sort of understand, if you watch Liga, the PSG have been doing the same thing since they have won the league. The players don't really care about it. And it felt like Liverpool, the players were still on the partying bus, or they were in a club or whatnot. Their heads were not in the game. And as I said, Chelsea wouldn't really mind. It was so easy for them to break them down in the midfield. There were no really challenges from Liverpool. Even in the defensive, like the shape was not there. They were being so easily being played behind by Chelsea, chance after chance, and you have to question Chelsea at some point why they were not really able to convert those chances. So many saves, they hit the crossbar, they hit the goal post. I mean, Cole Palmer had a great game after so long, and as I said, everything that could have gone better for Chelsea on the football field went. Cole Palmer had a great game. He ended up scoring that penalty as well. Liverpool scored an own goal as well. The game, as I said, it ends at 3-1. Van Dijk scored, and they had a couple of Salah came once, but apart from that, Liverpool never really got into it, if I'm being very honest. And Chelsea, they took full advantage of that. And I would say, and the thing is, Chelsea fans would be quite disappointed, and I mean the players themselves would be quite disappointed that they were not really able to take more advantage of that. I mean, that would have been the perfect sort of a slap back to Liverpool if Chelsea really went ahead and finished the job done even better than they have done. They have won 3-1. That's a big victory for their Champions League hopes. They are 5th in the table. They knew how important this game is. Newcastle have drawn. Spurs, they don't really care about. But like Newcastle have drawn, and then Manchester City had won. Aston Villa had won. So Chelsea knew how they had to win this game to stay in the top 5, stay in that Champions League places. So a massive win for them. They would be really happy. And at the end of the season, their form is getting better. It is going to be quite interesting to see whether they are able to continue this form next weekend and the next after that. And because now, as I said, unfortunately, my club Arsenal have somehow come into this Champions League qualification scenario as well, where we shouldn't have, but losing games and dropping points for the last month or so has put us in this position. There's a big chance that Arsenal might drop out somehow, which I cannot believe I'm talking about it. But Chelsea are going to look at these games. You look their next set of games, and they're easily winnable. I think Chelsea are in a good form at the moment, and they can, in my opinion, they should be able to finish in the top 5. And if they continue to play like the way that they did, I mean, nobody's really going to stop them. And I know that is what, if Maresca is able to make them finish in the Champions League places, I think that would be a big deal. But the thing with Chelsea is they're so inconsistent. They can go ahead in the next next weekend, and they can put on an absolute stinker, and the teams behind them, they can can take advantage, and they could be out of the Champions League places by next weekend. And the problem is the point, they are all of them are so close, in terms of points, that anybody, when the one of them makes some mistakes, the others are ready to pounce on it. That's how close every one of them is for those Champions League places. And that is why they cannot really afford to make mistakes, and they need to continue to win if they want to stay in the Champions League and they want to qualify for the Champions League, and they need to play like they did. I mean, it was such even though you are as a neutral, it was just beautiful to watch. If you would have been a Chelsea fan, you would have been ecstatic by the way that they played today, but it was just a free-flowing football, free attacking football, the way that they were playing when Maresca started, and when Chelsea had their tries, almost supposedly fighting for the title, and then they had their drop, of course, but after a long time it felt like Chelsea played like the team that almost was in the top 3, and everybody was almost raving about being in the title charge. And the thing is that they can play like that. They have the players that they can they can play for it, but there needs to be consistency at Chelsea, and for that there needs to be consistency at the managerial position. And that is why I hope, for the sake of Chelsea, that they don't sack Maresca at the end of the season. He needs to stay there, he needs to be there. The club needs stability, and I think Maresca is going to be the guy. I've been saying this when they appointed him. I said that in the start of the season when I did the previews. I said it in my prediction video. I predicted Chelsea to finish 9th, and I said despite that they need to keep Maresca at the club, because you need stability at the managerial position, and then you can have stability on the pitch. And luckily for them, they have kept him for the entirety of that season. Otherwise, I thought that when they had their massive drop, they might sack him off. They have not done. Todd Bowley for once has used his brain, and I hope, of course, it's going to be given a lot of money, and I hope that he brings in good players this time around, and he can slowly get rid of the players that he doesn't need, and then I think Chelsea can really fight for maybe the title next season as well. Liverpool, I don't I cannot even criticize. They are the champions. I think if the players had a day of their heads were not in the game, I cannot really question that. I cannot even criticize them. They are the champions. They have done it. As I said, I don't think they have really cared about the outcome because their job is done. They still have 3 games to play, but I think majority of them are still already think about the holidays and the summer break, and that is why I think you could see it was not the same Liverpool team. Let's be very honest, they were so slow moving the ball, passing the ball, at all the 50-50s, they were late on it, and so easily they gave away the penalty as well. So yeah, not a good game from Liverpool, but I don't think they are really going to care, and I hope that when they play next week against Arsenal, their mindset is the same, and that they don't turn up against us and they play like they did against Chelsea. They play against Arsenal like that. I would be really happy with that, to be very honest with you. But for today, massive win for Chelsea, and a giant step that they have taken towards Champions League football. That is from me in this video. Let me know what you guys thought of the game, what you guys thought of Chelsea's performance, and what do you think of their chances of qualifying for the Champions League. Let me know in the comment section below. I like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers before the end of the season, so please go ahead and subscribe and help the channel out. Until next time, bye bye.